So here we are this evening, Wednesday. I think it's the 14th of October. So gathering because of my email that went out in relationship to the importance of mothers' voices and how mothers speak up for their children. So I'm going to just know that we are here on the sacred ground of sovereignty, like in sacred circles of old when women gathered to share. We're here to hear one another. I'll share what I'm here to share. There will be time for questions or sharing from you if you choose. This is a place to deepen our understanding of one another and to build roots with one another, like within the earth, within this circle time. We also function within the cocoon of the sacred ground, sacred guardian circle protocol, which is coming from the sacred ground collective community. And for some of you, all of these may be new, but we have a community of collaborative women, and you can learn more about what we are and who we are at sacredgroundcollective.org. So I welcome you today. So yesterday morning, I was sitting in contemplation doing some healing work because I've been doing energy healing work for over 30 years. And I was pondering around domestic violence and the escalation of mothers when their voices are not heard and they feel that their children are in danger or they are not able to take care of their children or home in the manner that they would like. And as I was with that situation with one of my clients, it was like this whole panorama opened as I could see, not just in this one family, but in our country and in our world, that the voice of women has been so discounted as to be dismissed, especially when they call alarms. And in my work over the past 30 years, I have come to the conclusion that the women's voice, the women's vision is critical to having a life and a world that's going to benefit all of us. So I'm just going to read the first part of what my team, I call them the ancient ones, what they said, and it's in Facebook, and that's what most of you read and why you're here. In the galactic worlds, it is known that there is no voice more powerful than that of a mother speaking for what she knows will bring her children and her creations benefit, safety, maturity, and community in ways that will open their intelligence and magnificence. It is also known that all the forces that gather to discount, diminish, attack, belittle, or in any way work to destroy the mother's voice have agendas to damage these creations. And here in the United States, the thought that came to my mind is the children that were separated from their families and are separated from their families in the immigration process. And going back to them, the question was why? And it is because through the damage and the crippling done in the physical body, in the psyche, that Earth's creations and the children of humanity will continue to be food for those whose ways are parasitic. And that brought to mind the situation of our economy, not our economy, but our ecology. So I put that out and had a lot of response. And I went, you know what? I want to share a little bit more about my understanding of the mother's voice. So here's what I want to cover today. Why a mother's voice is so important to a child, to a baby, before the baby's even conceived, because we're working from a picture in which we are souls who come into a physical body. So we exist before we're birthed. So what is the mother's role there? Number one. And we knew when we were considering incarnation, that this earth was pretty contaminated with a lot of negative patterns, energy, constructs, etc. So what did we plan in order to live on this planet without getting caught in the trap? Number three. And number two. Number three, we've assumed that we have no Earth Life 101 book to help us get through. And I want to talk a bit about that. So I want to talk about those three things from the perspective of my personal work and experience. So it was in '89 that I started doing energy work, meaning working with vibrational fields that were unseen to the human eye. So I didn't do massage. I didn't do, any kind of physical, because that's not working in the unseen. The unseen is vibrations that we don't perceive with our physical sensing system. When I walked into that field, I didn't walk into it with joy. It wasn't something I thought, oh, this is what I'm going to do. When the idea was presented to me, I went, I don't think so. I was angry at the invitation, and I knew that I had to dissipate the anger, heal my own anger, so I could be neutral in order to make the decision to say, not going to go there. Why did I want to know about crystal chakra balancing? Nada. And yet, I'm on the other side of that invitation and dissolving and diminishing the anger that came up, I decided to give it a try. And I stepped into that field. Consequently, I had discovered that I could ask questions, be very quiet, and I would get answers from, again, an unseen source that I'd been working with for 17 years in raising my children. What does so-and-so need? What would be the best approach to take here? Well, how can I understand this better? All around my children. And that source had been extremely valuable to me. So I had tested them. They had been vetted, if you will. So I brought that ability into the healing arena called chakra crystal balancing. Putting those two together opened doors that I had no idea would open. My teacher had said to me when I returned to do a session on her, the chakra balancing, she said, Sharon, what I gave you was an ABC. And I see that what you're going to do is way beyond that. I didn't know what she meant, nor did she. But with the help of those teachers in those realms that I call spiritual, that are just unseen, they don't exist in a physical body. Spiritual doesn't mean they're religious. Spiritual doesn't mean that they are, elevated beings. It means they're unseen. But I had tested them. So for me, they had credentials, they had stability. And so I could ask them questions. So that's where I went in trying to bring the best to my clients so they could live their life well. And as you might imagine, a lot of my clients were women, and a lot of them were having problems in relationships or having problems with children. And how did they fit and how could they do things better? So I ask questions of those that I now call the ancient ones. It's an extensive team. And the information I want to share about Mother's Voice came from them. I've applied it. My clients have applied it. So it's kind of like been put through the laboratory of test of life. So let's start with number one, coming onto this planet. Now, I don't know about you, but I live on an island. I live in Woodby Island in the Pacific Northwest. The island takes me like a little over an hour to drive from one end to the other. When I go down to visit my daughters who live on the south end of the island, I make sure I have everything that I need for that little trip. If I'm going to go off island into Seattle, I do another plan to go on to Seattle. When I traveled a great deal with my work, I knew what was in my bags. I had everything I needed for that trip. When we came from a spiritual plane, from a star family plane, understanding that this is going to be a tough life, do you think we came unplanned? So I asked my team, because I don't assume anything. So I asked my team. I said, I think as a soul, I'm intelligent. I'm more as a soul intelligent than I even know. So I don't think I would, as a soul, have come here unplanned. And they said, that's right. This is how the story they give to me. When a soul is making the decision that they're going to incarnate, they have a team that they call around them of those who they would consider stable, quality, vetted friends. How they've known them over time, they've proven to be solid. So we have a team around us, and we work together with that team to make plans for this lifetime that we're contemplating. We have an overall reason for the life, bigger purpose. There's some specifics we're hoping we can accomplish. There's some skills we're going to bring in with us to accomplish those things. We are going to make contracts with different souls who are going to be in our lives so that they're coming together with purpose. And we're also doing an amazing thing that can only be done in a physical body. We are bringing in ideas, concepts, trauma, energy, some positives and some we call negatives, because that energy, especially that which is harmful, can only be transformed back to light through the physical process. We have the most powerful place to be as a healer is in a physical body suit. So each of us, when we plan to come here, decided how much what we'll call negative karma we are going to bring in. Some of it's our own, some of it's our family genetics, some of it might be the female psyche, male psyche, humanity. We're going to bring some of it in with us in order for when we land in this physical body, we can transform it with a command. Because we're connected to unseen teachers, unseen beings who will answer our call and do the work. Those patterns are marked for easy removal. So I use numbers because I'm trying to understand the messages that I'm given. So I say, okay, this client, how much negative karma did this client put in their birth plan? So they'll say, well, 900 points. 900 points. That's just a number to give me a sense of what the weight might be, 900 points. I said, okay, what percentage of that 900 points is marked for easy removal? Consistently, 90%. 90% was marked to be removed, not lived out. Well, unfortunately, we live in a time when spiritual work, energy work, telepathic information is called delusion. It's called schizophrenia. It's called lots of different names without seeing what's really going on. So here we have these babies being born into this life ready to jettison 90% of the garbage, and nobody's jettisoning it. I said, how was that supposed to happen? How are we going to do that? They said, it is intended that the mothers and the grandmothers, might be the aunties, understand that they are the ones to first connect to that birth child's team. So you get the picture. Here a soul has a team. The team and the soul has made a plan. The soul is going to go into this tiny bodysuit and into this very cramped space for a period of time through the darkness, having to be, get used to this space right away, this limited space of physical. So decombobulating for sure. What did we expect? Well, we expected that the mother would begin singing the song to the baby to the mother, the soul team to the mother before birth. So that the mother becomes part of the team because she continues to open herself telepathically to the team and the soul that's going to be baby. She's on the team. She's hearing the messages. She's knowing what's best. So that when that baby comes into her world, she can immediately start reminding the baby about the team. Yes, do you see the angel standing next to you? No, that's not a monster under the bed. Look, that's one of your team. Come on out from under there. You don't have to hide from. She immediately starts talking to the baby about his or her connection to her team. And while the baby's making the adjustments, mother is hearing from the team what that baby might need, what baby is needing. She's doing the remembering so that she can remember the baby to the plan. And what they said to me is in that process, in the first year, the mother, grandmother, auntie, sister, whoever is capable, was to sing and declare and ask for the removal of those marked karmic negative plans, 90%. So by the time that baby is one, not only has that connection started to be woven, but 90% of the negative karma was to be gone. Mothers' voices are critical, and mothers have forgotten too. Mothers have forgotten too. So here we are. We knew that this was a world that was pretty contaminated. It's not just energy of wholeness that we call love, and energy that's out of balance, which we call fear, duality. It's not just that. We knew that there were also those who held agendas intentionally to dominate. And that's a third energy. The mothers, the female body, and it didn't have to be a mother, the female body has a point of sensitivity, very, very, very brilliant, if you will. And it's a solar plexus. And it was intended that that be her place of vetting energy. And she might vet it because she sees the impact. She might vet it because she hears the bullying words. She might vet it because it feels like it hurts her heart. She might vet it because she feels like she needs to squeeze away from it. Depending on how her personal sensing system is set up, it's designed to, first of all, say, outsider energy of damage, parasitic usury is in your presence. Name it and have it removed. If there is someone in this audience we call life, who has the awareness and also then the sensitivity to know that there is energy in her space that will damage her children. She's a threat to the energy that wants to damage. Let me say that again. There are energy agendas connected to energy beings, souls on a different level, who have the purpose of using other people. They have a master-slave mentality. They are not out of balance fear. They use fear, but they want and have been using their energy to entrap others. We call it systemic domination. Some people call it systemic racism. Some could call it systemic anti-feminism. Some could call it systemic patriarchy. It has lots of different names, but it's the same agenda. So what if there is someone in the audience that can go like, whoa, I got that one. I see who you are. I hear the timbre of your voice. I see the outcome of your actions. And you are not love, nor you're not fear, but you have an energy to entrap. You can't be here. Take them out of the audience back to the home where they come from. Who could entrap? No one. So with women having that assignment, they have been a threat to those very agenda beings. Therefore, you have witch hunts. Therefore, you have rape camps. Therefore, you have laws that take away female rights. Because the power of the female voice was intended to design and say, this is what I'm going to create in my home for my children. This is the food we're going to eat. This is the music. These are the thoughts. This is the way we're going to act. She was to design the culture for her home. And anyone that would destroy or dismantle or invade to disrupt that, she was to have the right to say, this energy cannot be here, and be supported in that and be protected in that. You see? I don't know if you know anyone who's been in domestic violence situations. It's a perfect example of what has happened, because we have now a culture of domination with no protection for the whistleblower called the partner. The women's sensitivity got her in trouble, because when she spoke out in times of the invader culture, in the witch hunts culture, the more she spoke out, the more she was destroyed. Whether she was burned at the stake, whether she was dunked in the pond, whether her whole family was rounded up and killed. And so women have softened or sometimes even eliminated that voice. In this day and time, as women are rising up to say, this happened to me and it's not okay, the culture that we're in goes like, prove it, nobody was there, he was just a young guy, whatever. You see the result of the crippling. And we as women need to understand that if no one else hears a woman's voice and says, I hear you and I'm standing with you, we must. If a mother says, this is this situation doesn't feel safe for my child. She, in our world, and her partner doesn't listen, and she gets louder and he doesn't listen, and she gets louder and now she's the problem. That's common. So we have got to start visioning the world in which originally, when a woman in the village, the women in the village says, well, stop, we need to do a little pivot here and slow down for a while. The men in that village knew her voice and vision was correct, that she had the sensitivity to know. And they respected her voice to know. And they slowed down and they took a break and they filled the village with love. They never discounted. But the invaders, when they came in, did not pay attention to a woman's voice. They escalated their war against her to entrap. A mother's voice is really, really important. Now, we've assumed, going to point 3, we've assumed that, oh, why didn't we get Earth 101 book? You know, why don't we have that? Well, in the mid-90s, and that's when I was, starting doing my work, and a lot of my work came, most all of it actually came because I asked my team offline, no books, no videos, certainly no YouTubes. They said, the information that you need isn't on the planet. If you want to do what you're called to do, you have to let us give you the answers. We've got to restore the information through you. So one of the things I said was, I knew that as an individual, my clients had, each of them had an overall assigned vibration for their life. It might be, I'm going to really step into joy. I'm really going to step into clarity, which means they would have to address all the reasons they hadn't done it in other lifetimes. So it's a healing process to get to where you were. But then one day I said to my team, I said, is there a general assigned vibration for those souls, that would choose to come into a female body? Thinking that was ridiculous because there's so many things women do. But they said there is. So I said, what is it? They said, to lead. I said, to lead? They said, yes. To set the policy, to create the culture, to be the leaders. And I kind of was taken aback. I mean, that's the 90s. My mother's friends didn't even know how to drive or write a check because their husband did it for them. To lead. I said, well, that's very interesting. Then I guess there is a general assigned vibration or general purpose for a soul who comes into a male body. And they said, there is. I said, what is that? And they said, he's the nurturer. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. Women were originally, they were given the assignment to lead. They said, yes. And men were given the assignment to nurture, and they said, yes. I said, okay, I'll just take you at your word, and we'll, and did a lot more asking. And pretty soon it became very clear to me and to many others in that healing arena at the time that that chakra system, it represented the crippled DNA. It represented wiring that had been miswired. So we started doing the rewiring. There's about 15 basic chakras, and they are representative of the information in the original DNA plan. It was the original body, the original book for life on the planet. And it would naturally unfold, So as I asked them, then what what are the other centers? What are they? And they pointed them out. We began working with them, but they said, you have to understand, they unfold differently in a male bodysuit than they do in a female bodysuit. Same centers, but they unfold differently because of the assignment. I said, so they unfold differently for a nurturer than for a leader, the leader. They said, correct. Power center in the original male body was the heart, which had been crippled and bypassed early on, part of the crippling. The power center actually for a female was first Earth Gaia, rooting with other sisters. You've heard stories of, in the ancient times, in the ancient villages, the women would gather in circle regularly, not just play circles and not just quilting bees, but in sacred circles. They rooted into the earth in circle and in literal roots of communication, so that the love, the fullness, the possibilities, all that came from home came into the root system that Gaia held for the women to do their work. So the power center of Gaia, the root of rootedness of sacred sisterhood. And then as she moved up from the earth, from bringing that amazing possibilities and the energy to say, how are we going to design our villages? She's working together, and they're working together to design villages, to design homes, to design ways to thrive. And then she moves to the next power center, which is the solar plexus. I don't know how many of us have been taught the importance of the solar plexus, the power center represented by Sophia, even represented by Lilith. That center of sensitivity, so that we can discern what expands life for our village, what adds to the design for our village and our garden and a home, and say, yeah, come on in. And what would destroy it? What would take our beautiful garden, make us work in that garden, and sell it overseas at a profit there, and we get pittance? Africa comes to mind. When we saw that, we would be able to say, no, not in our garden, and have it moved off. The power center of discernment, Sophia. An awakening of that power center in our day is what gives power to what I call the goddess, the foundation of Gaia, Sophia, solar plexus, belly wisdom, discernment, so that we can bring all of that energy from our sisterhood that can fill the cultures of our villages, of our countries, and move it up through our heart to come out in a very different way. It's a blessing energy from our heart. It's a love, nurturing, help you work energy from the male body. So here we are, back to the words that my team gave me yesterday, that we are in a world, all kinds of levels of that, where a female's voice, whether it's a domestic violence partner, whether it's a mother trying to keep her children well and out of harm's way, discounted. But in the galactic worlds, they hear it. They will answer it. We have been looking out here to change the minds of our domestic partner. We've been trying to change the minds of our religious establishments. We've been trying to change the minds of our elected officials. We've been trying all kinds of ways to say women are important. Women are important. That's not where we will be responded to. but we will be responded to by opening up those same channels that we use to talk to the teams for our children. We have a team. What is your team calling you to? And you can say to them, look, we have to move forward. I have to move forward. I'm taking charge of what my children need. This is what they need. And I write it in a sentence. I write it as an outcome. And I say to those beings who are ready to answer my call, this is the culture for my family. My family is experiencing joy, safety, thriving, creativity. And I'm asking you to move all of the energy that I am, all of the energy of all I'm connected to, into that energy culture. And you have the authority, right, and responsibility to do such thing. And then you call in those beings who have the ability to identify, remove, heal, and you say, and I want you to deep six. It's a command that activates so many healing possibilities. Deep six, anything that is, has, or would keep my family and those I love from this experience. And teams that help design my life, who help design the life of everyone who I'm connected to, I want you to take this choice and create a program for each of us, an energy program for each of us, for the highest and best expression of that culture. Download the codes right down into our first dimension. Lay the patterns in the fifth dimension where life patterns are originally, or where there are, and activate it through our entire culture and network. And then listen to each other. We live in a culture that listens to the voice of mothers, grandmothers, and women. They value what we bring to the table, and we are considered a high point of information to bring our world into the reflection of that home from which we came. Move the consciousness of this entire group of humanity into that reality. Deep six, anything that would keep us from us, anything that has kept it from us and is keeping it from us. Deep six all. Write the highest expression program and download it into our psyche, our consciousness on every level, and activate it in our behalf. So I hope you have, sparked some thinking for you. The soul's birth plan was clear. Mothers were intended to tune into it, be part of that information team, to reconnect their children and grandchildren into it. They were intended to sing, dance, command away 90% of the negative patterns. You can do it even now, even if your child is past babyhood. You can sing those marked patterns away. We have the right, we have the sensitivity to discern, and we have unlimited teams in the unseen who will answer your call and will begin changing the energy, the foundation that will allow and actually cause systemic domination structures not to be dismantled, but to dissolve away. So that's my information for today. I'm going to let you be with that a minute and open up the lines. If any of you have a question or you want to say anything, bring it in. Certainly, we're open for that. So I'm complete, and the space is there for any of you. Okay. So there, I always like to make sure that I give you some action steps. That's called a reality shift. And this little video will be available with those action steps on our website. I will make sure those of you who are here and who have signed up get all of that information. You will add incredible power to the shift that we need. And you're in the perfect place to do so. Yes, Emma.
Sharon,
Yes.
I wonder, could you talk about, because not everybody is a physical mother who has given birth to physical children. And does this exclude them?
This is what I'm going to read again to you. In the galactic world, it is known there is no voice more powerful than that of a mother speaking for what she knows will bring her children and her creations. And I was very clear when they said those words. They were very clear that it was creations. It might be an artist, it might be a singer, it might be a writer, it might be a gardener. Those creations are part of the design. When we set this plan in place, was not intended that there would be motherhood yet, because we wanted that domination energy gone. We got trapped in it instead. So no, it is we are here as women to design what will bring benefit, thriving, meaning, joy in all forms.
Thank you.
It isn't just children. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Okay. Oh, Angelique.
Yeah. What I'm feeling, what is really important, like I see it, that we first feel that we are all children of the mother, of our beloved Mother Earth, so that we can embrace the femininity in ourselves, and then also more understand our own place, our own roles as a female.
Mm-hmm.
This resonates very deeply when you're sharing your wisdom, and I really feel how important it is that we recognize her as our mother, the mother of all, and that we are a part of her as well.
It was the for the DNA unfoldment in the original chakra system. The soul or the energy of that one who would be in a female suit, after she had given an okay for the life at the causal chakra, would anchor to the feet base. That would be first chakra. Second chakra to the mother, to Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
To Gaia. That's why, the roots there.
Yeah.
And the sisterhood there. I can't emphasize that enough. Sometimes we have been so disconnected intentionally from ourselves and from each other. So thank you, Angelique, for that reminder.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you.
Well, not mine. The ancient ones did a good job. They've been teaching me for a very long time, and it's just, time to, I'll be calling, sending their words out in various ways. So thank you for being here. Much love, everyone. Thank you for what you're doing, because I know all of you are playing roles, holding good spots on this planet beyond what we even understand. And thank you for that. Bye. Until another time.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.